So we're changing the heat with Frank. We're just going through it on the catting right now. All the parts have come in. They're all there. We've got jigs printed up to fit it all, so that'll go on the side of the chassis. We'll bolt the new tabs to that, and then we'll pull this out of the way. We'll put the other tab on, put the arm on, and weld it all in. So he's thought of it all, bros. So when he comes back in, if that's him, no, that's Caleb, that's Scotty. When he comes back in, we'll show you it working on the computer, and then we'll weld it in there, and you can see it in real life. Right, show him side view.
This one, the 361.
So that's at the top, new travel on the bottom, pretty cool. And we've got no bump steer, which we're pretty happy about. So bump steer is when the tyre goes down. Sometimes it can deflect out like that, and when you come down, it'll wobble the tyre and shoot you off into the wall. Nobody wants that, do they, Brody?
No, never.
So no bump steer, all the travel in the shocks. We've got it dialed. We're gonna get on with it and get it on the car.
Rightio guys, bit of an update. So we just cleaned off all the bracketry on the lower control arms, and we also cleaned off the bracketry for the steering rack, because we've had to go a different steering rack. We've had to change all the mounts to basically get full range of motion out of our front shocks now that they're 7 inches. So we should have a lot more stretch in the front end, which will help with no prep. Oh, there we go. You bang on, bro. Bang on.
All right, we are going to run you through. You just saw us weld these plates in. Zoom in on there, Brody. So you just saw us weld these tabs in. Now we've got to work the length here out on the chromoly tube that we're about to weld in. I went and machined the end tabs that sit in here. So Brody is printing up a jig currently in the printer in the other room that will lay this arm into tack, which then gives us, there's the jig that we're going to lay it into tack, which then allows us to skip ahead a little bit and get this plate cut out from WPM. Boys at WPM, James and the boys, help us out a lot with quick laser cutting. They're just around the corner. So this plate is going to tie the boss that I've made, the bearing and the first arm into this clevis on the second arm. It's going to tie it all, so we have strength going in and around the whole bearing support. So it's not just the boss holding the front wheel on, because if that breaks, wheels fly off, and you could only imagine what could happen. So yeah, we've taken one step back, but it's allowed us to take 3 or 4 steps forward and sort of shortcut this plate, working out the length, and then having to make this plate, we can put it in the jig and shortcut it a little bit. So a lot of effort in there, Brody.
Sure is.
Okay, so while the jig's printing that you just saw, I'm going to put the steering rack in. It's not super critical. It does slide on bosses, so we'll put that in. We'll gusset it. So Bro just sorted some gussets in. Like that, because obviously the steering rack pivots on one bit of chromoly, so we're making it super strong so I can still have steering. Another thing that we can do while we're waiting for that is the plates for carrying extra non-sprung weight. So that'll go on there, we'll clean that up, it'll go on there, and we'll hang our weight from this side of the diff to here, just sit it in here. Yeah, that'll give us a constant, 25 kgs of extra traction, always had. And we'll find some other sprung weight at the back of the car, which we'll get into at the end of this video. So we have a bit of both, but we're going to put our sprung weight a lot higher so that our pivot point, it's a bit easier to get the seesaw action happening so that we can get the front of the car up and plant more of the tire on the back, that tiny little baby tire up there. All right, so I'm just going to weld along here, weld along the top, put the gussets in. You guys can watch it in fast forward. Do these ones for us, through the camera.